What's up guys? Dude, this anime starts out seeming like your typical ice guy, but when the protagonist gets transported to the other world, he's rejected because his abilities were too ordinary. However, when he levels up to level 2, he suddenly gains infinite abilities, man. That's right, the guy surpassed all limits with an infinity symbol in each of his attributes. But hold on, it doesn't end there. He also meets a kind of furry demon who falls head over heels for him after seeing his sword. Once upon a time, there was the city of Paluma, the royal capital. Here, ordinary people make the semi-humans work for them as if they were slaves. Banaza doesn't understand why all this. He rewards his servants with kindness. Yet he's judged by the malicious eyes around him. Why does it matter if you're human or semi-human? Can't we get along without caring about our race? Banaza says. His partner shares his thoughts, but there aren't many who think like that, especially in the capital. Without explanation, Banaza starts to glow strangely and is teleported to another world. Exactly, another ice guy, as he guessed? This is the 198th time a hero is successfully summoned. The main wizard welcomes him to the Magical Kingdom of Klyrode, where Banaza will be a hero and fight against the Demon King. But Banaza asks, what do you mean, great hero? There must be some mistake. The king says they summon people from other worlds without potential to fight against the Demon Lord's army.
Wait a minute!
Imagine being taken from your world to fight in a magical war against demons? Don't you find that a bit strange? Yeah, me neither. A maid with a dog-like face goes to the altar carrying the magical artifact that will measure Banaza's abilities. When summoned, beings return to level 1, and as a reward, they receive divine blessings from the gods. But when Banaza's stats are measured, he has no divine revelation and his statistics are those of a normal man. All the mages are very disappointed, but the second man summoned has level 999 in all abilities, and everyone rushes to praise him because he can definitely save this world. Meanwhile, nobody listens to Banaza, who just wants to go back to his world. Now he's trapped in the Magical Kingdom of Klyrode, and there's no way to send him back, as the kingdom is a failure in terms of portal magic and they don't know how to open another that would take him back. So the king ensures he stays far away from the royal city and sends him to the Delavisa forest. The journey lasts for several days, and upon arrival, the transporter presents him with a magical bag and warns him about rumors of the Demon King's army in the forest, advising him to leave if he were him. But Banaza doesn't have anywhere else to go. He sees that the system works the same way as in his old world and can see the items available inside the magical bag. He takes out a sword from it, and at that moment some slimes attack him. He manages to defend himself, but the sword is so cheap that it already broke. But something totally unexpected happens. His level jumps to 2, but all his attributes gain the symbol of infinity, and he doesn't know what that symbol means. A voice system has been unlocked. Now his system can talk to him like an Alexa or Cortana. He asks to see the new spells, and there are so many that they barely fit around him. The system alerts him that bad spells were applied to his bag, like tracking and monster attraction spells. That's why the slimes attacked him. It seems they wanted him to die quickly. The system offers to remove the spells from the bag, and so it's done. When he tries to go into the forest to find shelter, the system warns him that the forest is full of malicium, a generic term for liquids and gases emitted by demons that cause serious harm to humans. The system offers to clean the spell from the entire forest, and it will consume a third of his mana. Banaza thinks he must not have much mana anyway and that it must be a very simple spell, but it's actually a very high-level spell. After clearing the entire forest, his level increases, but because it's such a high-scale spell, he gains absurd experience so he levels up uncontrollably. In the palace of the kingdom, one of the princesses complains to her father about the terrible thing they did to Banaza. Bringing him from his world for nothing and then sending him to a forest full of demons is terrible. At that moment, one of the king's servants comes to alert him that the highest sacred magic of all has been detected, purification. The king becomes very happy, thinking it's the new hero they teleported, but in reality, the spell's location comes from the opposite direction. Meanwhile, Banaza still doesn't understand what the hell the symbol is, and finds it strange to already be at such a high level, but convinces himself that in this world people must level up very easily. Now Banaza needs to decide where he should go since he can't go back to the kingdom. The system then gives him the option to change appearance, so he chooses a desired gender, but curiosity gets the better of him and he chooses to become a female. He ends up with a very big tail and lovely melons, and even feels excited about his own body, but decides to act seriously. The system indicates a teleportation magic straight to the capital, another high-level magic. So he goes there without problems. In his old world, only legendary mages could use this magic, and he thinks it must be different here. For a second, he thinks about going back to his world and asks the system for that, but unfortunately it's not possible. Banaza then joins an adventurers guild to earn some money and goes by the name of Flio. While looking for missions, a little girl asks for help to accompany her to the Delavisa forest, but no one wants to, as this forest is overrun by the demon army. Banaza then offers to accompany her and mentions his teleportation magic. Everyone around finds it strange. How can a kid like him have teleportation magic? He wonders if this isn't a beginner spell. Then Banaza is pointed at by a sword. Banaza from the Royal Knights confronts him along with several other warrior girls, saying he's suspicious for claiming to know how to use this magic when he doesn't seem like a high-level mage at all. Banaza then tries to clear up the misunderstanding and invites all the girls to go with him, and so it's done, leaving all of them extremely shocked. He not only used teleportation magic but made it very far away. Banaza then apologizes for her rudeness earlier, as do the other girls. Meanwhile, the little girl finds it strange that all the demon poison disappeared from the forest. Banaza almost tells her about what he did earlier, but the system prevents him, as it's dangerous to reveal his abilities to a demon. The knight takes the lead and confronts the little girl, as do the others. She's actually a disguised demon. She reveals her true form, taking the form of a giant white wolf, whose name is Fenry, a lupin. She uses her magic to spread demon poison in the air, weakening all the girls. Only Banaza remains unaffected and Fenry acknowledges that he is indeed very strong. The she-wolf attacks him and Banaza sees he can't deal with the enemy and protect all the girls at the same time. So he uses the teleportation magic to take them all back to the city and faces the she-wolf alone, using all his spells. Flio decides to use all the spells he acquired in the forest. He starts by using Meteoric Leap to escape the creature's attack. However, the monster turns back to him to try to strike him again. Flio then uses the Earth Wall spell to protect himself from another of Fenris's attacks. Next, he finally attacks the monster with a whirlwind, but Fenris manages to teleport and goes for his back. Flio uses gravity magic to counter Fenris's charge, causing her to fall to the ground unable to move a muscle. The she-wolf tries to use one spell after another, but all are denied by the system until her mana runs out. As for which magic to use now, the system recommends subjugation magic, which would allow Flio to enslave his target, controlling their thoughts and actions. However, Flio chooses not to use this magic, even though the system insists. He states that he refuses to go to another world to enslave the local people. At this moment, Fenris, too exhausted to continue resisting, surrenders and asks to be killed. Flio explains that he has no intention of doing so, as he dislikes fighting. Confused, Fenris remembers she's a demon fighting against humanity, but Flio responds that he doesn't care and refuses to kill someone who surrendered. Fenris reverts to her humanoid state, completely naked, which catches Flio by surprise. He rushes to cover her. She ends up collapsing due to mana exhaustion. Later, Flio decides to take a look at his skill window and notices he has different types of magic. He remembers his teleportation magic and wonders why he still has it, as it's very powerful. Fenris wakes up and sees Flio sitting by the fire. She realizes her mana has been restored and deduces that he used healing magic while she slept. Flio confirms, and they talk again about the battle they had. Fenris promises never to enter conflicts with humans without reason and acknowledges Flio as a master because of his great strength. She insists on being his slave, but Flio refuses, stating he doesn't intend to make anyone a slave. Fenris threatens to kill herself if Flio doesn't let her stay by his side, and he ends up giving in. Sitting by the fire, Flio reveals that he was summoned from a distant world as a candidate for a great hero, but was abandoned when the king saw he had no skills. He explains that he needs to constantly use appearance-changing magic to avoid being recognized and pursued by the castle. Meanwhile, in the castle, the king discovers that his forces were defeated by the Demon King's army. The hero makes up excuses, blaming useless soldiers and claiming he had to handle everything alone. But the truth is the opposite, and the great hero is criticized by the soldiers, causing discontent. The hero questions his failure and is puzzled why his skills haven't improved after a month of training. Suya goes to him and offers her services as a servant. Flio and Fenris decide to travel together to avoid being caught by the castle. Along the way, a merchant mistakes them for a couple, making Fenris blush and express that it would be wonderful and a great honor for a lupin like her to become the wife of someone so strong. In the Adventurers Guild, they're informed about an urgent mission to eliminate a group of psycho bears coming from the north. Flio decides to avoid the mission, but Fenris offers to go alone to prove her master's strength. She suggests that if she defeats the psycho bears, he will also be able to, as he defeated her before. They then head to the forest, where they find an empty house to use as a base, and he refuses to let Fenris fight alone. While they were talking, they hear a woman scream, they run to the place, and see the same girls as before being attacked by the psycho bears. They are being overpowered, but Flio joins the battle and defeats the monsters with the help of the she-wolf. The girls thank them and are surprised to see Flio again. They were worried about him when they were teleported. So Flio introduces his partner, but doesn't say she's his wife, which makes her very sad. Poor Flio. She just wanted to sit on him and make 10 puppies.
Yeah, boy.
In a moment of carelessness, another big bear appears behind Fenris, who is distracted with her sadness. But when she turns, she gives a demonic look that sent shivers down parts one didn't even know I had.
Why are you running? Why are you running?
The bear obviously never felt so scared, and falls defeated by the king's hockey. He then surrenders to the powerful she-wolf, and she suggests keeping him as a pet. This terrifies the girls terribly, as this creature can easily devastate entire armies. He becomes Flio's pet anyway, and using a magic, he domesticates and changes his appearance to a more attractive one. Fenris is amazed at the new feeling she feels. He's terribly cute now. Later, already inside the house, all the girls introduce themselves. Banaza, a knight from Klyrode. Blossom, a farmer bodybuilder warrior. Belano, the mage. Bailarai, another knight. Banaza asks Flio to train them as pupils. The embarrassed great hero throws a tantrum because he didn't defeat any creature even with the whole army. So he said he would only fight again when he had real strong knights to serve as his babysitters, and then locked himself in his room like a teenager. Flio doesn't even know how to use his magic. Imagine training a bunch of girls. Fenris obviously gets very jealous, so Flio finally introduces her as his wife, and that warms her heart very much. Fenris is so happy and radiant that she encourages Flio to train the girls, and he ends up agreeing. The girls ask for another favor. It's dangerous to camp there because of the terrible monsters, so they ask to stay at Flio's house, just until the next day. Fenris takes advantage of the situation because now she can sleep in the same room as her master. Naughty. In the Demon King's castle, one of his servants reports about the purification spell cast in the forest, which was cast by an individual who is not part of the kingdom. The Demon King is very interested in this and sends them to go after him.